everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of our video series. Today, John and I are going to take a little time to explain to you an overview of the Delegate Assembly and why it's so important to our association. We hope to give you some valuable information here, so welcome back. So we want to take a minute to explain to you what the Delegate Assembly is, because not a lot of people know. So let me just give you a little bit of overview here. The NJEA Delegate Assembly, we call it the DA, formulates association policies. The DA includes 127 representatives proportionately elected from the counties for 2-year terms. Each county is represented by its affiliated county association president, plus 1 delegate for each 1% of the state total of active members of the association. In addition, 1 delegate each represents retired, student, and administrative members who do not otherwise have the representation through normal channels. It's important to know that as DEA members, for you to know that John and I have both served on the Delegate Assembly. I served for 6 years, and when I termed out, John got elected and he currently serves. His term is from 2023 to 2025, so he is up for re-election. John and I both feel really honored to represent our members at this most important assembly where policies are discussed and made and information is shared with everyone.
Very good. Thank you, Kathy. So how often does Delegate Assembly meet? So the DA meets in person 5 Saturdays a year. Traditionally, the meetings are held in September, November, January, March, and May. And the meeting locations vary, but are often in Princeton, Atlantic City during convention weekend, Somerset, and New Brunswick. So there's 5 annual meetings of the Delegate Assembly. So just to give you an idea of how the room looks with all of these 127 delegates in the room at the same time, the photo to the right shows the seating arrangement at our last January meeting, and seating arrangements vary by meeting. So I know it's a little bit difficult to see the names of the counties, but you can see the different colors, and the different colors represent the different counties around our state. So the locations of the counties, each meeting, kind of like move around just to give everybody a fair chance to sit in certain places. But basically at the top of the screen, you'll see where the president of NJEA stands. He runs the meeting, Sean Spiller, the executive director, and all the other NJEA higher-ups, if you will. And then all the delegates sit, and then in the back of the room are the non-delegates seats for those who are not delegates. You can come and observe the meeting as well.
So why is this Delegate Assembly so important to the work that we do? Some of the things that happen at the Delegate Assembly, there's suggestions for new business items that the delegates vote on. The delegates vote on the annual budget for NJEA. The delegates, they collaborate, right? There's a lot of networking, and they collaborate regarding educational issues that are occurring around the state. The delegates hear updates from leadership and report back to their members. So if you attend a DEA rep council meeting, you will hear this at every meeting. After John has been to the DA, he brings back all the vital information that he learns to his members, as do all the other presidents around the state. And the delegates address their members' concerns at the state level. So John has brought numerous issues to the floor, as we call it, that have been discussed. There's some election stuff, all kinds of things. But it's our chance through our elected delegates to have our voices heard at the state level. And that makes this work really, really important.
Yeah, for sure. And not only delegates can attend the meeting, but also non-delegates can also address the assembly. And we mention this because this is how I first started as a speaker at the Delegate Assembly. And quite honestly, I didn't even know what the Delegate Assembly was for half of my teaching career. And then Kathy and I kind of caught wind of it, and we decided to go. And we sat in the back where the non-delegates sit. And at each meeting at 11 o'clock, the delegation hears from any non-delegate speaker who wishes to speak. And you can talk about, whatever you want, up to 5 minutes. And that's how I started. And I started going to meetings in 2017, somewhere around that time, 2016 maybe even. And I would speak during the 5 minutes, and I would go into the back, and I would just watch the rest of the meeting. And it really gave me a good experience listening to the rest of the delegates and how the meetings go. And it enabled me to have a voice and to explain to the delegates the things that were working or not working in our association. So It was overall a very good experience, and I'm very happy that I started doing that. And you can sign up to speak on njea.org. They now have an online option, or you sign up the day of the meeting in this little booklet that they have outside the door of the meeting hall. And that's it. It's very simple, and that's how I started.
Here you can see a list of our current Morris County delegates, names, terms, and then the local that they represent. So we have these people who are currently sitting on the DA.
Yep, and as you see on the screen, my term is ending this year. So I am up for re-election, as you saw on the front slide that we showed you. So we would like to take this opportunity to notify you that the election is coming up April 1st through April 15th, and it's a vote by mail situation again this year. But I'm asking you to please re-elect me to the Delegate Assembly. There are other candidates that are also running, so there will be an election for this position. We are able to have 3 delegates elected, and I feel that I have always put the members' concerns and member suggestions first, and I have been to many, many, many Delegate Assembly meetings, as I've mentioned, not even as a delegate, but as a non-delegate. And I often raise a lot of concerns and a lot of suggestions to the Assembly. And I feel like I would be honored if you would re-elect me to the Delegate Assembly for a second term.
When you're considering your vote, keep in mind that John brings our voices collectively and with individual concerns as well to the Assembly. He's an important voice that we want to have remain on this most important group of people. So we would ask that you consider voting for him to keep our voice and our concerns in the forefront.
Yes. So we wanted to take just a few minutes today to keep this nice and short, but to let everybody know what the Delegate Assembly is, for those of you that are not aware of it. Hopefully you learned something today about this very important work and why we do this work and why we're working so hard to make sure that all of our educators' voices are heard. And we hope that you will re-elect me to the Delegate Assembly, and that hopefully you learned something today about the process. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.